what advice would you give to someone who's on the edge of starting their own business or taking the leap into a new job?
Just do it. Just go and do it. Look, if you know that you can do it, just do it, because you will regret it for the rest of your life. I know for a fact that if I hadn't done it, I'd have regretted it. And doing what I do now and opening Global is the best decision I've ever made.
Okay, everyone, we're sitting down here with Ryan Beck, the MD of Global Ocean Logistics, and we're currently in his office space where things look a little bit different. And Ryan was in a 9-to-5, and then he took the leap and he started his own business. So Ryan, tell us where you used to work and what made you take the leap to start your own company.
Well, I used to work for my father. He owned his own logistics. Well, he was the MD of Maersk, which is one of the biggest shipping lines in the world. Now that's going back, I must have been 10 or 11. So he was the MD for Maersk, and then he did basically what I've done and decided that he didn't want to work for Maersk anymore. He was going to go and set up his own logistics company. He did that, but he became the agent for Maersk. So rather than working for Maersk,
right,
who were headquartered in the UK, I think, he branched out on his own and became an agent for Maersk.
Okay.
For Maersk Line. So logistics has always been in my background. I remember getting in there when I was a kid, 10, 11 years old, asking to answer the phones.
Right.
You know, welcome to Beck Freight or BF Freight International at that time, and I thought that was cool. So
reminded me of both Wall Street vibes or something.
So just getting in as a kid, you know, when we're off school, can I come to the office? Can I go into the office? So I mean, he had 15 or 20 staff, and it was very busy. So I liked all that, and I thought it was cool. You know, he had his own office, and I would sit out with all the staff and pick the phone up and say, hello, welcome to BF Freight International, and then patch them through to whoever it had to go through. So it was always something that I knew. Worked for him. I left school, so I finished school at 16 and just left school. Didn't want
no higher education.
No higher education. Didn't want to finish school. Didn't enjoy school. I genuinely didn't like high school. So just left, and then I went and worked for him in the warehouse. So I was just a warehouse guy, you know, moving pallets about and cleaning the floor and doing things like that.
In the thick of it?
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool, you know, seeing the trucks coming in. And then I got my forklift license. So I said, I want to drive the forklift. Can I drive the forklift? He says, yeah, I'll put you through your license, and put me through my forklift license. And then I was able to unload the containers, load the drivers, and become then the warehouse manager and manage the warehouse, you know, with the drivers and the staff. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And I was there for 15, 16 years, maybe a wee bit longer than that.
Okay.
But it was always in my head, I want to do my own thing. I want to own my own business, not necessarily in logistics.
You just wanted to be your own boss?
I wanted to be my own boss. I always had it in my head, I wanted to own a bar in Ibiza, right? For some reason, I wanted to own a bar in Ibiza. Or a bar somewhere in Spain, and that was always my goal. I want to go and own a bar in Spain. Never happened, like.
Did you go to EP18 and you're like, right, this is my spot?
I went a few times.
Right, okay.
I and Napa too, but I thought, yeah, this would be pretty cool. Let's have a bar in Spain, but no, it never happened. So obviously, I was in logistics from I was 16 right up until now. Worked for him up until I was 20, 41, I don't know, 35, 36.
Okay.
Always in my head that I wanted to have my own business, and then I left my dad's business and went and worked somewhere else for 7 years. Again, always.
Was that the same kind of? Was it like warehousing
the exact
still?
Same, no, it was the ocean freight side of it. So when I worked for my dad, they were the agents for Maersk. Then Maersk went back out onto their own. We then became.
And what was Maersk? Sorry.
Maersk Line, so it's a shipping line.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
One of the biggest shipping lines in the world. So Maersk then went out on their own. They became the agents for K Line. Again, which is now one line. They were one of the biggest shipping lines in the world too, and I ran that agency for 7 years, I think it was.
So in your dad's place, you moved from the warehouse into that, or?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I probably should have said that. I moved from the warehouse into the transport side of it, so into the office, looking after drivers' runs, all their deliveries where they had to go every day. Then I moved away from that and went into the operations side of it, which was the ocean freight side of it, which is what I'm currently doing now at the minute.
Okay.
So ran that K-Line agency, booking the container shipments from the Far East or wherever it had to go on a day-to-day basis. Ran that for around 7 years. Then K-Line closed their agencies, so we lost that agency, and it was centralised down in Dublin. So
while you were at your dad's place?
While I was there. So I mean, that happens. I mean, you're an agent for a shipping line for a certain amount of time, and then they'll decide to go and do their own thing, or they'll have an office in the UK. So that agency went, but we still obviously had our own business, you know, so we give it to different shipping lines and just booked it as a freight forwarder. So when we lost that, I was kind of like, right, I want to go and do something else. I want to try something else. I didn't necessarily want to stay there for my entire life, and I didn't want to take that business over because it wasn't mine.
Yeah.
It wasn't my business.
Yeah.
It was his.
Yeah, it was his baby.
And I wanted my own. I wanted my own business to say that I've done this and I've built this.
Yeah.
So I left and went and worked for another company for 7 years just to try something else. I'd always worked for my family. He says, I'll go and try it somewhere else. I'll go and work for somebody else and see how that goes. And I was there for 7 years. Enjoyed it. I did genuinely enjoy it to a certain point. And I was like, no, I've had enough. I can do this myself.
And when was that? What year was that?
2024, so 2021.
So COVID times?
COVID times. So during COVID, it was horrendous. The shipping industry was an absolute nightmare.
Right. You would have still been working during that time?
I was still working. Like, I was still working every single day.
You would have been an essential worker, is that right?
Yeah. So I was a manager, so I ran the department. So, I mean, it was just, like, logistics doesn't stop. You know, everybody worked from home and offices closed and people were furloughed. That wasn't the case for us because customers still had stuff to move. Their supply chain still had to move, so we still had to do that on a day-to-day basis. Yes, we worked from home, but I think working from home, the workload was more.
Yeah.
You're waking up and you're starting work.
Yeah.
You don't have a 5:30 cut off and go home. You're working from then. And I remember nights working to 10 or 11 o'clock at night just to try and get stuff done. But it probably was during that. And then we sort of come out of COVID. And again, it was still always in my, right, I can do this myself. I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to own my own business. And then that's when I decided to set Global up and open Global.
So, do you think it was the security of knowing that COVID was happening that you were like, right, the world's going through a big change at the minute, and obviously even your job at the time was a big change, like you're working from home, you're stuck in your own house every single day. You're like, if there's ever a time for me to have to go at it, it's now. Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. I knew, like, businesses are always going to have to ship stuff. You know, it doesn't matter if it's busy or it's quiet. The customers that we have are always going to have something to ship. Yeah. You know, logistics never stops. The supply chain for people's goods is always going, like, from now, even whenever I'm not here, or I'm not at Global anymore, or in 30 years' time, somebody else is going to be doing it.
Yeah, the world needs to move.
The world has to move, and there's a supply chain there that has to move regardless of who's doing it. So yeah, I seen at that time, it was the right time for me to do it because I knew the market, and I'm so experienced at it. I knew that I could do it myself. And at my age, if I didn't do it then, I'd have never have done it.
Why is that?
Probably me just holding myself back.
Yeah.
I would have just got to the point where I was like, no, I can't do it. I never thought about it again. But I knew if it didn't do it, I'd have regretted it for the rest of my life. But it's the best decision that I've ever made.
So tell me about that, whenever that decision happened, and leading up to that decision, like, was it a case of you were playing with this in your mind, you were talking to the other half, you kept talking about it until one day something happened in work or whatever it was, and you're like, that's it. I
spoke about it for a year before I did it. With all due respect to Clarissa, she was the one that said, no, you're not leaving a secure job. If you do this and it fails, we have no house. How do you support us and the kids? And that scared me. I was like, right, okay, I can't do it. But then as time went on, I remember we were in Spain, where I was still working, and we took a holiday in Spain, and I sat with her dad, and I was just like, I have to do this. Regardless of whether Clarissa likes the decision or not, I have to do this. And he said, just do it. And there was other friends of mine that I'd spoken to, and went, you can't do it. And I was, why? What if it doesn't work? I says, I'll make it work. And then I just went, no. I stopped listening to what everybody else said and just did what I knew was right. And that's whenever I decided to do it.
So that's crazy. So you had, and I actually had quite a similar experience myself whenever I was starting up a couple of businesses actually. Because your family and your friends, they want that security for you. They're like, don't ruin your life type thing. They think you're doing you a favour.
Yeah.
But then when you actually go, I need to speak, I need to listen to myself actually and go for this and actually make a go at this.
There's two or three people that said to me, just do it. I think I was my own restriction too. When people are telling me, if this doesn't work, what are you going to do? How are you going to afford your mortgage? How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to support your family? But I knew in the back of my head that I could walk into any logistics job with my experience. So if it didn't work, I'll go and find a job somewhere else.
So the worst thing that could happen is you'll end up back in the same place.
Not the same place, somewhere else maybe.
Yeah, but I mean like the same.
Yeah, in the same industry.
Yeah, like you've got the experience of being a manager in logistics. You would just land another job somewhere else.
Yeah.
So essentially.
So it didn't bother me. If global didn't work, or the business wasn't there, I didn't get the business, I would walk into another job tomorrow. Like.
I think that a lot of it's out of love. People aren't going like, oh, Rand, don't do that because you're going to ruin your life. Blah blah. They're thinking, is he going to be secure? You have a house. You've got kids. You got 3 kids, don't you?
Yeah.
So you have 3 kids. She's thinking, I got 3 kids here, and
I get that. I totally get that. Like.
But at the end of the day, whenever you actually did launch it, did she then become supportive,
Yeah.
or did it take her a little bit to come around?
No, she said you should have done this years ago. As soon as I did it, and okay, it was a risk, but it was a risk that I was willing to take. As soon as I did it, 6 months into it, when she seen what I was actually able to do, she went, "No, you should have done this ages ago." And I went, "You told me not to."
And what was the first year like?
Brilliant. First year was brilliant. Like.
So did you come out landed on your feet?
Yeah, I mean, I had a good customer base anyway. When I sort of went out on my own and then contacted them and said, this is what I've done, they were happy to come with me.
Right,
we went to one of our customers' golf days, and I went and spoke to the guy that owns the company, and I just said to him, look, I appreciate the business and the support that you've given me since I went out on my own. And he said, it wasn't about the business that you were working in, it was about the person, which was you. That's why you now have it where you are, which I thought was quite good.
And what was the toughest thing that you found kind of when you started your own business?
Making it work.
Right,
as everybody said, what happens if it doesn't work? Paying a wage. I had to know that the business had to work to have a salary and have an income to pay the mortgage, to pay the bills. So it was like the first sort of 6 months were, oh, right, okay, this is a wee bit nerve-wracking. But once I get into it and the customers came and the booking started and the shipments were moving, then I knew that it was the right thing and things were going quite well.
So what's been the biggest win so far?
Opening global.
Right.
Just having the company, having the business and working and owning it and working for myself.
Do you ever have that kind of outer body? I have this sometimes, but like that outer body experience where you're looking at your life and you're going, holy fuck. Like at one stage I was dreaming about being in this position and now I am in this position. You kind of like take back.
Sometimes I do sit back and go like, I'm proud of what I've done.
Yeah.
I do, like, not all the time, but I do look at it and go, sometimes at the end of the week when we've had a good week. I mean, there's ups and downs too, like, things happen and it's like, but there's ups and, but yeah, I do look at it and go like, I'm quite proud of what I've created and what I've done.
And do you find now that you have got relative success and, you've scaled over 7 figures, like, which is absolutely amazing, especially for someone in NI. So NI businesses, I find, when you're comparing to the mainland, it's very hard for us to scale as much as the mainland.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's our accent or if there's a bit of water between us or whatever it is. It is just harder. And being able to get yourself there. How did you make yourself grow that fast? Because you're in business 3 years, is it?
2.5 years.
That's
3 years,
fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Just having the relationship with the customers. Like, if one of our customers needs to speak to me, doesn't matter if it's Monday to Friday or Saturday or Sunday, I'll pick the phone up. If you need me to sort something, I will go and sort it for you. I have a really good working relationship and personal relationship with the majority of our clients. We, as you were saying about the UK, we have a couple of clients in the UK as well. And I just reached out to them and said who we were and what we could offer, and like the business is there and it's regular and it's just, Ryan, can you sort that? Can you do this? And we'll do it. Like, so just having that relationship and the rapport with them, like I get a buzz out of that too.
Yeah.
You know, if I get new clients, I get a real buzz out of it. Like,
that's it. Get the red panties on.
but no, it's having the relationship with them and like, just being honest. Like, this is how it is. This is what's happening. If a shipment's delayed, we'll tell them that it's delayed before they ask.
That's a big thing in your industry, isn't it? People that, for example, are expecting a shipment and it comes very close to the time. You're like, I'm so sorry, and they're like, wait a fucking second here. How long have you known this? Yeah. Because we've already got like this all set up in the background.
We tell them before they ask us. It's just right. Like we will track our shipments every single day and make sure that we say, look, it's delayed, or even it's early. But 2 air freight shipments arrived in today that weren't expected until tomorrow.
Brilliant.
So the customs cleared and they're being delivered tomorrow, and they're like,
brilliant.
Nice one. So I just said that's my expertise in logistics.
Yeah.
Whether you believe that or not, but there's things you got. Things come in early, things are delayed. But everybody knows that. The world that we're in at the minute is a mess with obviously the war in Israel and vessels having to travel via Africa, but they understand that, so they add that additional transit time onto their supply chain.
I love this because I told you I bought a Tesla, so I'm on there. I'm on there looking at the vessels, trying to find out which one's mine. But I saw that the Suez, like no one's going through the Suez Canal at the minute, so it's adding 10 days.
More than that,
12 days?
No, 12 to 14 days.
12 to 14 days.
And then by the time it arrives in the Antwerp, Joburg, or Rotterdam, then the ports are congested.
Why is that? Why is nothing going through the Suez? Is that because of Iran?
Because of the war in Israel.
But what's that got to do with the vessels?
Because if those vessels are traveling that way, they're attacking them, which you've seen on the news.
Oh right, okay.
So they detour down past Africa.
So they're attacking them as like a show, like the Houthis or whatever.
Yeah. It's all over the news. But some people outside of what we do don't realise that. You know, you're buying your Tesla and it's coming from China. Well, it's coming 2 weeks later because it's going via Africa. A lot of people don't understand that. You know, even with the thing with Trump getting back into the USA, adding additional tariffs on the imports from China, a lot of people don't realise why that happens and the inflation it has worldwide. Yeah,
because China's such a, in your industry, it must be the main place that you're taking a lot of shipments as it is China.
The 90% of the volume will come from the Far East.
Is there any up-and-coming countries that you're seeing a lot more production come from? A lot more
India,
people? You know, India emerging, is it?
Yeah.
And what kind of industries
a lot
is
of
that?
garments would come from India.
A lot of what? Garments?
Garments, you know, like workwear would come from India. We have a customer that imports like coal bags from India. They don't come from the Far East, they all come from India.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, India is quite prominent too, look.
So you're going from one country that has over 1 billion people to another country with over 1 billion people?
Pretty much.
So India's going to be the next China, potentially?
No, I don't know, but it's always been buoyant, like, it's always been busy too.
So what's going on with the US? They're going to put tariffs on anything that comes from China.
On Far East imports.
But that's not going to affect UK, Ireland, Europe?
No. It'll affect the US economy.
So then what's it been like since we have had, and I'm on NI business and I see people asking questions 24/7, but like the Windsor framework, like what way does that work?
You have to ask me about that?
I have to ask, because I mean we're in NI and I see questions 24/7. Like some suppliers in England, they're being like, you need to have this number, and I'm like, apparently I don't need this number. Is it an
EURI number?
Yeah.
You have to customs clear anything that's coming from the UK and Northern Ireland. Fact. You just have to do it.
For the other way, for EU to Northern Ireland, is it the same?
And then, but we can send goods from Northern Ireland out to the UK with no paperwork. Basically because Northern Ireland and Ireland is the EU and we're not. So if you're importing from the UK, it has to be customs cleared to declare if you're going to send that into the EU or not.
So if we're buying stuff, we're getting done.
You will have, if you buy furniture, if you bought something in the UK, they will tell you they won't ship it here.
That is an absolute nightmare.
It's just the way that it is. They won't ship it here. So you could, like, you used to be able to, like, I have customers and friends that are buying stuff and furniture and bar stools from the UK, and they just say, nope, we can't deliver it.
Why is what? Just too much paperwork?
There's too much paperwork involved in it.
That
because you have to have your EORI number, you have to have a TSS number, which is trader support, to clear that coming into Northern Ireland.
And do you think that long term something needs to be done about this?
It is a mess, look. It is a mess. It shouldn't
Well,
be difficult to bring stuff from the UK to here.
But surely that's ostracising us on both ends.
Don't know. I mean, if you think, if guys here are not buying in the UK, then they're buying here. So they're going to be buying from local manufacturers rather than companies in the UK.
Yeah, but
So it benefits
local trade.
Local trade.
But we're a small country in the grand scheme of things, aren't we? Compared to, you know, we could if we buy from down south, same scenario. You have to have
if unless it's under free circulation, so it's already been brought into Dublin and it's customs cleared. You know, you could buy something down south and it can come up here under free circulation. But anybody sending, if an Irish customer was to send to the UK, it has to be customs cleared out of Dublin and customs cleared in the UK as well. It's a mess. It's not. It's a mess.
I don't know long term how you keep that kind of scenario going on where you can't do trade. We're literally across the water from each other.
I know.
We have to be able to do trade with each other. That is ridiculous.
Yep.
So hopefully someone somewhere goes, right, let's all
get
this here. EU, UK, whatever, we're mates again.
Yeah.
Maybe not
it
go
would
back
be,
in.
It would be a lot simpler for sure. Look.
Well, when was that kind of break off from the EU?
2016.
Was it 2016?
I think so, yeah.
So whenever you were in whatever the
old place.
The old place.
Yeah.
Was that a
I think
whole...
was it?
I can't remember.
2016, then it happened in 2018 or 19. I can't
know
remember.
Trump got in office in 2016. I remember that, but I don't know.
It might have been after that. I can't remember the date that it was. It was years ago. Like.
But whenever that happened, you were in IFS or wherever you were. Was that like all hands on deck? Like lots of things are changing overnight.
I didn't look after the UK side of things, so it didn't really bother me what was going on. I looked after the ocean freight,
which is all from the Far East.
Which is all from the Far East, so it didn't have an effect on that because it was coming from the Far East into Belfast anyway. The UK guys looked after that only really whenever I opened Global, and then I had to start looking after the UK shipments. But I knew what the process was anyway, and if we're dealing with customers who are EORI registered, who have TASS numbers, so it's a simple process. If they're bringing stuff from the UK, we had all the documentation anyway.
So if we buy stuff from the Far East, there's no tariffs in it?
No, there's tariffs on it.
What's our tariffs?
It depends what the stuff is.
Oh, for fuck's sake, serious? Like,
you'll have a duty tariff on whatever it is.
Like electronics.
I don't know. I'd have to go and look.
Come on here, Ryan.
Depends. It depends what it is. There's millions of commodity codes. So it depends what it is. Like
I think
tools, power tools, you know, your duty rate's 3.7%, something like that. It depends.
If I bought £1 million worth, I need to pay 3.7% on that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then, but it's under
some goods are duty free, like furniture is duty free, so you don't pay duty on furniture. There are certain commodities that are duty free, some aren't.
And then,
like alloy wheels have a duty of like 12.5% and an anti-dumping duty of 25%, because you're buying alloy from the Far East rather than buying it locally.
So, if we have to pay duties in the Far East, is there anywhere that doesn't have to pay duties?
No.
They all have to pay duties?
Depending on what the goods are.
So
as
EU
I say, some stuff's duty free, some's not.
So stuff from the EU now, is it taxable?
Yeah.
Fuck me, right?
So if a customer brings in goods from the EU, you still have to clear that through customs when it arrives here.
Something's done here. I'm not liking this at all.
You go speak
I'm sitting here thinking.
You go speak to Stormont. Well,
I'm thinking here, right? Okay, so we're the only country here that's not get.
No, everyone.
If we make stuff here, brilliant, awesome, because we can send that everywhere.
But then, wherever it's being exported to will still have to pay VAT or tax and duty on it when it arrives. There's duties on everything, no matter where it's being imported or exported to.
Yeah, we need to.
That's where the money comes from.
Talking to some people about this here, Ryan. I know you're in the industry, and
I'll
it's
let
great
you
for you.
sort it.
Here, that's it. Let's get a petition going here. Right? Did you ever think you were going to become an entrepreneur when you were younger?
I don't know. Never really thought about it. Well, I suppose only really in the later stages of working for my dad. I probably did. I always as I say, even whenever I was younger, I wanted to own a bar. I suppose that's an entrepreneur to some degree.
Yeah.
So yes, I always knew that.
And why do you want to own a bar? You just want to get blocked every night and live that party life.
Free drink. No, I always knew that I would do something else. I knew that I would work for myself eventually.
And then whenever you were in school, were you a bad student?
No, I didn't pay attention in school at all.
What'd you leave with? What was your GCSEs or
No, I
what?
can't, like 4Ds or something. I did the minimal, like maths, English, science, and geography. I did quite well in geography. I think I got a B in geography, and an A in history.
I love how the B. That's literally what you do as a job too.
So I had no interest in school whatsoever. Like,
So you left with one GCSE because a C's a pass.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go, one GCSE. You're an MD. You're doing over 7 figures in Rev. Just goes to show you that you don't really need. You need to be You need to be competent.
But you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah, you need to be competent. Like if you send an email and it's all slang and everything's spelled wrong, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have.
And
problems.
there's autocorrect.
There's autocorrect these days. No excuses. Okay, so like you said, a lot of people hold a lot of people back from starting their journey into entrepreneurship, or maybe starting a new job, like because they might have that comfort. And comfort kills a lot of dreams, doesn't it? Comfort kills a lot of dreams, especially, and not to come across as, Mr. Masculine here, but especially as a man who has a family. Like, you're looked at like, as in, you're the man of the house. Yeah. Please don't do anything risky. We have a mortgage. We've got debt. We're playing off Klarna. We've got stuff from Christmas. There's all sorts going on here. The comfort of having that 9 to 5 kills a lot of dreams. Yeah. What would you say to them people?
If you know that you can do it, just do it. If you know in your head you can do it and you can be successful at doing it, just do it. As you said before, if you don't take a risk, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. If I didn't do what I did now in Open Global, I'd have regretted it for the rest of my life. And I probably wouldn't even be in logistics, I'd be away doing something else.
Do you know about the butterfly effect?
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
So, how small, minute things in your life that at the time feel so insignificant has molded your entire being. Whether that be a text message you didn't send, a day that you didn't go out, whatever it is, that molded your entire life. Like, how did you meet your half?
At a fancy dress party.
You never went to that fancy dress party. You would have no kids. Your free kids wouldn't exist. Yeah. You probably wouldn't be in Global. You'd be a totally different man. You might have been in Spain at your bar. For all you know.
No.
But at the time when you were going to that party, you were just going to that party.
No.
You get me?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when everyone worries about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. What's the small little thing that you can do now that can change your entire life for the better?
Me?
Well, yeah.
Growing the business, giving other people opportunities to work for Global, which I'm doing. So we're employed another member of staff. If I can bring somebody on and let them enjoy their job like I do, and they have a better quality of life, then I've done something right.
Because this is the first time you're going to be, I know you've been a manager and you've looked after people, but this is going to be essentially on your dime.
Yeah.
And so what you want to be the kind of boss that obviously has expectations, but people enjoy actually coming in to work.
Yeah, just do your job and enjoy what you do. Breathing down somebody's neck saying you need to do this and you need to do that, get that done. That's not the type of boss that I am.
Yeah.
Even whenever I was a manager, as long as they did their job, then they never got any grief from me. Things happen, not necessarily the fault of somebody else. It's not like I'm going to breathe down your neck and scream, right, you're on a one, right, we'll sort it between us. So come in and enjoy your job. And if I can bring another member of staff on and another member of staff on and another member of staff on and they enjoy what they do, rather than if they hated their job, people leave jobs for a reason because they don't like it.
Yeah.
And they want to try something else. If I can bring people in here and we have a relaxed atmosphere and you enjoy your job, then I've done something right.
But there is always that, well, this is what I've found. We probably have a totally different style when it comes to management.
Yeah.
I have, whenever, for example, I had the two Mexicans, I tried to be the relaxed, like, as long as you get this done and I'm your mate. But then people, and I don't know if this ever happened to you in your roles, but people would take the piss.
Yeah.
People would take the piss and start thinking things that needed done didn't matter as much because I was their friend, I was their mate.
But that is the one thing that, I won't, we'll have a good relationship and a friendly relationship, but inside work, I'm your boss.
Yeah.
Outside of work, I'll be your friend, but I'm still your boss, like. Yeah. So there will be a difference between that. I've seen that happen in other companies too, and it doesn't work.
Where you try and be too much of the friend.
Yeah.
Because
You
it's
can't
not.
be mates with somebody or your employee and text them, all right, mate. It's not mate.
Yeah.
You're their boss, and they're your employee. It has to be a business relationship,
It has to be. Like,
or it's not going to work.
well, it's just one of them things where there has to be expectations, and if they don't meet the expectations and they're your friend,
Yeah.
it is so much harder to have that conversation of, hey, look, I'm not happy with this.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, wise up. Come
No,
on.
no,
Like,
no,
you
it
know
doesn't-
that I had a barbecue and this and that.
doesn't
It's
work
like,
like that.
oh. And you feel bad because you know the other half and your
But
friends.
you're still
and
trying to run a business too.
like at the end of the
You're
day,
trying to run a business and make the business work, not have your friends in it.
I have a friend who is a business owner. He's still in the food world, and he was saying to me, if my business closed tomorrow, everybody else in there would go get another job, and it would be like, oh, I used to work for whatever.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be devastating.
Yeah.
For me, my world would come collapsing down. So I need to always prioritize what comes first for me. Because if this business fails, it's me that has the debt. It's me that comes crumbling down. Everyone else can go and get another job. They've got plenty of experience.
Yeah.
Whereas it's my business, it's now in the ashes. And some people will watch their business literally go to the ashes trying to appease other people.
No.
And sometimes you do need to be that like cutthroat and be like, hey,
business
look.
comes first. Look.
Especially, so I have I'm not going to say who, but I have someone I am working with, and some of their staff don't pull their weight in the sales department, okay? And they're really good people. Like, as far as I'm concerned and heard about them, they sound like really lovely people. But if you're in sales, if you're in the department of sales and you don't make sales for the company, as much as you are loved, you are incompetent at that position. Because sales is a tough gig. It really is a tough gig. Like, you hear about some salespeople being flat out on the gear or whatever to stay awake, or whatever you do, you hear this mad stuff. The stockbrokers of America or whatever, with Wall Street style, are all on the stuff to stay awake. But it is a tough gig, and some people either have it or they don't. And they've came to the decision where they've let some of them go and like, hey, they haven't hit the numbers in a while. But it really is hard to be like, I know Jenny. Jenny's lovely. I've seen Jenny's kids. I really get on with Jenny, but Jenny isn't bringing in the numbers.
But that's the problem. You can't make it personal.
You can't make it personal.
And as you say, sales is hard. Like, I have done it. I had to do sales when I opened Global. So I've done it for the last 3 years. But I genuinely enjoy it. Will we bring in salespeople? Probably. But nobody can sell the better business than what I can.
I had a mentor, and she told me that any business that is scaling at the start, the last thing that you should give up is your sales. Because that's the lifeblood of your business. And nobody knows your business like you do.
No.
As much as a salesperson can sell something, they will not have the passion and the drive that you do, because it's your baby.
Totally agree with that. Look.
It's your business. And again, if it all came crumbling down,
it falls on me.
It falls on you. They'll grab a coffee on the way out. Ryan, cheers for that, mate. Good for years. Loved it. At the end of the day, it has to be successful for you.
Yeah.
What do you think about the new government coming in? And I know not to be political here, but just to do with the likes of our corporation tax is going up. All our taxes are going up.
No control over it. So do I look into it too much? Not really.
No.
No. What's it going to do? You've no control over it. I don't have a say in it.
Do you think it's right?
No.
Well, what's corporation tax? 24% now?
25.
25%. It was 24. It was 19 and 24, but now they put up to 25.
I think maybe it is 24. I can't remember.
So you're having to pay 25% of your corp tax. Then if you pay yourself, you have to pay tax on everything that you pay yourself. Then if you pay yourself dividends. Some people have this fake idea, by the way, that business owners are just constantly rolling in money.
No.
We pay a lot of taxes.
No. I pay myself a salary.
So do I.
That's it.
Pay myself a salary, and then at the end of the year I'll pay myself a bit of dividends, but that's just to hit like a threshold. Like if you paid yourself, say you paid yourself $500,000, you're getting 200 grand maybe.
No,
that's madness.
The money, it's not about money. Like, I pay myself a salary. It's about keeping Global open and servicing our customers. It was never about money for me. It was about a better quality of life.
So there's the concept of the infinite game. I mentioned it to you earlier, and it's the game of business, and the whole point of the game is to keep the game going.
Yeah.
So you enjoy the game.
Yeah.
You enjoy the game of business.
We get new customers. I get a buzz out of that. a real buzz out of it, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just no way down the road. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Deal secured. Contract signed.
Yeah.
Do you deal with contracts? Is that how it works?
No. Well, you're signing a contract if you're agreeing to the rates that we've provided and your containers are being on a ship. It's not a signed contract. You send rates and they're agreed. So officially your contract's on an email or the rate card that you're sending out to people.
Right. And have you ever had...
The rates are agreed before the shipment moves. That's effectively your contract, like.
So you've never had a non-payer or nothing like that?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Touch wood. No.
Have you've heard of people not getting...
Of course, yeah. It's happened. It happened in my dad's place.
Big contracts?
A lot of money, like.
Enough to sink you?
1.2 million.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That they didn't pay. Which didn't help, like.
That would sink a company right there, 1.2 million whole.
There's insurance companies in place for that.
Oh, right, okay.
But that amount, that's a lot of money, like. But yeah, there was a few things happened and shipments were released when they shouldn't have been released. But yeah, the bill was 1.2 million that he didn't pay.
I
mean, it happens in every business. It will happen. It will happen here.
If I had a bill of 1.2 million pounds not paid, I would be outside their offices, stopping every new customer walking into that place saying, "Wait a second, don't do business with these people."
But then the companies fold.
Yeah.
Doors.
Not that big ones, though. Surely them big shipping lines, do they?
No. The shipping line. It's not. It's the end customer that will owe the money to the shipping line or us or another freight forwarder, whoever it'll be. The shipping lines never write the money. They get paid their freight bills by the freight forwarder, who is us. Whatever happens to our customers or their customers, well, that's on them. Like.
And in the logistics industry, is it pay on delivery? Is that how it works, or is it like a half up front? Or
no, I mean it's customers are on credit terms. Customers are pay up front. It depends what your policies are in your business. Like. Do
you find, obviously, as you're the top of the food chain here in Global, do you find it's hard sometimes to have that motivation because it's just you have to motivate yourself? It's self-motivation.
Do
you not struggle at all with it?
No.
No, see,
I actually enjoy getting up and doing what I do every day.
But you don't have anybody. For example, a lot of people would say you need to have a mentor.
I have my own motivation.
Yeah.
I know what I want to do, so I motivate myself to go and do it. As I said to you, if we get new customers, I get a real buzz out of that, so I want to get more on top of it.
So what's the like I said to you, the concept of this podcast is about getting to the top of the mountain and then realising there's another mountain. What's your mountain top at the moment?
To grow the business more than what it is already. Just keep growing. I don't know how high the mountain is.
Come on. Like, what would be a number where you sit back and go, holy shit?
A number for what, though?
A number for rev.
Turnover?
Yeah.
I don't know. In a year?
Yeah.
10, 15 million.
So 10, 15 million. And what you're around about 2 at the moment or something like that?
Well, over the last 2.5 years, it's 5 million.
5, right. So that is round about 2 per year. So that's a 5x.
Yeah.
Right, and you could do a 5x?
Yeah.
And what do you need in place to get a 5x?
Just bring more people on.
So you're struggling to cope with the workload, is that what it is?
No, I'm not struggling to cope with the workload.
Well, then there you go, 10 million on your own. The Ryan Show.
Easy. Bring more people. So if I bring more people on to help run the business, then it means that I can go and develop the business. Instead of working in it, work on it.
So instead of working in it, working on it. And you mean like developing relationships?
Yeah.
So
new
more
customers. You know, the more customers we get, the more staff we'll bring on.
Mm-hmm.
The business grows. So just keep doing that year on, year on, year on.
And the person that you're bringing in now, what are they going to be doing?
Operations. So
they're going to be purely to help with the operations day to day?
The operations side of it. So tracking the shipments and booking the shipments and making sure that they arrive and updating customers, sending quotations out while I do a wee bit more sales. And then as the company grows, then we bring more staff on.
Do you find that your kind of industry is slow to adapt new technologies and stuff like that? Is it very old school, your industry, or is it?
Yeah, there is a lot of obviously we track all our shipments online.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what we do is still on spreadsheets, but we're building a system at the minute where it's all automated. So we'll give our customers a username and password. They'll put in our file reference and then it'll track everything for them automatically. so that we're not having to update spreadsheets every day.
Mm.
We'll have our own one, master one, that gives us everything and every shipment that we have, but our customers can log on, put in the file reference, and then it'll give them all their shipment details.
So do you think that, like, the likes of AI or anything like that, that won't affect your world? That's just another thing that's came into the world, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop the day-to-day of a logistics company.
No.
Because from what I've heard from you, it does seem very old school. Like, everyone is very much still wanting to have face-to-face relationships and being able to speak on the phone or whatever, where a lot of other industries aren't like that. Like my industry, for example, I have some clients that I've never even met.
Really?
Yeah, like, with just WhatsApp.
No, I mean, I'll make a point to go and see them all at some stage. You know, I speak to our customers every single day on the phone. There's not a day goes by that I'm not speaking to at least 4 or 5 of them. Doesn't matter what it's about, just an update or how's it going, or letting them know what's happening with their shipment. But no, and the Teams, I don't really particularly like Teams. During COVID, it was horrendous and it was just awful. So we make a point of going out and seeing them as and when we can do. Like,
would you be a big proponent of then people buy people?
Yeah.
When it comes to sales, people buy people. It's not just about the product or what the service is. It's about, do you actually like the person?
Yeah. It's like, as one of my customers said, I'm carrying their business because it's me. It's not because of the name Global Ocean or whoever. It's because that I'm managing it for them and the job that I do for them, and you get on so well with them. And
say for example, you're a salesperson meet you, right? You had some product that you're slightly interested in or whatever, or service you're slightly interested in. What convinces you when you meet that person that this is the person I want to go into business with?
If you get on with them. Fact. If you're sitting with somebody and don't know about that guy, you're not going to give them any business.
Like a gut feeling?
It's the same in our industry. Like if I sit in front of somebody and they don't particularly like me, which is fine, not everybody will like you. Yeah. I won't get that business. So you have to come across, one, that you know what you're doing, and you do need to know what you're doing, and you have the right attitude as well.
And what advice could you give to someone to make sure that they do come across as kind of someone that you would go into?
Just be yourself.
No. I would disagree with that. Because some people...
But then you're hiding who you actually are.
True, but some people are... I'm going to sound horrible here, but some people are weird. Yeah. Some people maybe have really weird hobbies or are very introverted and don't relate too well to normal people. Normal people is probably not the right word to use there, but don't relate to a lot of people. So whenever they come into that kind of situation, if they were themselves and they were quite timid, etc., would you trust someone to look after, let's say, your logistics? Because we're talking logistics. Would you trust someone to look after logistics who's very timid? If
they knew what they were doing, yes. Of course you would.
I don't know.
You have to be. You can't go in and put on this persona that you're somebody else when you're not, and then walk out of there and be somebody that's completely different. Like I used to be quite nervous going in to see customers. Like I'm covered in tattoos, so I always used to think that people have this perspective of me of he's a scumbag or look at the state of him. Why has he got a tattoo in his neck? But that's who I am. Me having a tattoo in my neck doesn't stop me from doing my job. Yeah. I just like tattoos. Yeah. And it's just as simple as that. And then I get out of that thinking, well, if I go into somebody's office and I sit in front of somebody who's a potential customer and they don't like me because I have a tattoo in my neck, but that's fine. That's your perspective. But it's not going to stop me from doing my job.
That's very, very true. I mean, I understand exactly where you're coming from, but once you open your mouth, you're very relatable. You're a very relatable person. But like, if you start if you come in, hey Josh, mate, fucking nice to meet you, or mate, how's things with that, fucking that would, I'd be like, whoa. You be the stereotype for all the tattoos, right? What's he slipping to me? Is this a bag of gear or something?
I'm just that laid back, just like ink.
But I am a big proponent of, you need to mentally put yourself as, for example, if you want to be successful in whatever field, say you were starting a marketing agency or you were starting a PT fucking studio or something like that, and you woke up and you were like, right, okay, I need to put myself in the shoes of someone who is already a successful logistics owner or a successful agency owner or whatever, because if you don't come across that way, it's almost like you're I'm a big believer of the law of attraction, that if you walk the walk, it'll just come naturally. Like, for example, the biggest growth that I've ever made has always been when I've took a leap that I can't actually afford to lose, such as signing a lease that I'm like, oh my god, if I lose X customer, I'm dead, or whatever. Like a year, well, it wasn't a year ago, not quite a year, but 6 months ago, we lost a few customers for a variety of reasons. Like they were doing stuff internally, which is cool. It's normal. It's just normal stuff. Like you said, with the logistics side, sometimes they bring it internal. To see in my world, sometimes people bring stuff internally. But I had 3 big clients that all happened in the same month, and I was like, holy fuck. Like I just was not expecting
it happens in our industry too. A customer can decide who they want to go with for anything. Doesn't mean you don't have business. It's not yours, like.
Exactly.
It's up to them who they use.
Exactly. And when that happened, I remember turning around the other half at the time, and I was like, right, I'm leaving. It was 6 o'clock at night or something. I was like, I'm leaving the house right now, and I'm going to work. And she was like, what? I was like, I'm going to work right this second because there's 3 customers that need replaced right now, and I'm going to sort it out. And I worked like a dog for about 4 weeks, and we doubled our revenue 2 months later. So I went from I'm fucked to we're growing really fast.
Hard work pays off, like.
But it's always when there's fire at your arse.
No.
That's when you always make that. Like for example, you hated your job. You were going in there. You were waking up going, I hate this. Gotta go in, and then on the way home you're going, I don't want to go to sleep. Because I have to wake up and go do this again. And that was the fire at your arse. That no matter what everyone was saying to you, like, Rand, don't do this. You were like, I have to do this. Like I have to see if it'll work, and if it doesn't, we'll deal with that then. But I have to see, and look how far that got you, because you had that fire at your arse. So what I'm trying to say is, do you think that people should take risks that they actually can't afford to lose?
Well, yes. I suppose it was different for me because I took the risk knowing that if it didn't work, I could go and get another job somewhere. Not necessarily not be the same for other people. Taking risks, yes, 100%. But you have to know in your head that it's going to work. There's no point in doing it half-assed.
Yep.
If you're going to go and do something and you think, the business will come to me. No, it won't. You have to go and get it.
Absolutely.
So, yes, if you know it can work and you're going to work to do it, not half-ass it, and then the business fails and you blame other people for it.
You know what I fucking hate, Ryan? I'm going into my full slagging mode here, but I hate people that pussyfoot around 10 million different things. 1 minute they're a PT, 1 minute they're an online coach, 1 minute they're doing calisthenics, 1 minute they're a masseuse, 1 minute they own their own agency, 1 minute they're doing websites, they're doing fucking everything, right?
Just do what you're good at.
Burn the fucking boats. See if you say I'm gonna do this thing, you now do that thing, and that's it. That's what you do, and you do that thing until you're done. Fucked. Until you're fucked, and then you go right. You go do something else, because at the end of the day, we do live. I know we're talking about NI getting done a little bit in the logistics world, but we live in a bit of Goldilocks zone. So Northern Ireland is one of the only places in the Western world where we don't have bailiffs. Bailiffs do not exist in Northern Ireland because of our checkered history. So what that means is, if you destroyed your life and you couldn't afford to pay anything, you can still keep all of your possessions because no bailiff will turn up for it. So you really have 7 years.
I hope that never happens, like.
yeah, touch wood. No, well, there's no wood here, but touch wood that never happens. What I'm trying to say is, if you are that person that's itching at it, just know that if worst comes to worst, you're in the best place on earth for worst to go to worst, because you'll still have you'll still have your TV. See if you're in England and you owe $500,000, don't pay, they'll take it away. Knock.
I suppose that's the plus side of having a limited company. The company owns everything, not you personally.
But if you're taking risks, a lot of stuff's PG, a lot of stuff's personal guarantor.
Depends what industry it is, I suppose.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I suppose. Like, for example, whenever I had them restaurants, whenever we ended up closing up shop, I was PG on 2 of the leases, and it was like, fuck's sake. And obviously they know in my industry that they're trying to personally guarantor, because a lot of businesses go under, and yes, it is good that it's limited and all the stuff on like the employee side and any of that, you're definitely covered, and but if you're PG and you own your house, they will come after your house. So
No.
that's one thing I'll say.
No, yeah.
They'll always, if you own your home, they'll always come after you because
Yeah.
they can get your house repossessed, which is obviously heartbreaking,
No,
heart-wrenching
no,
thing. But
I suppose it depends what industry you're in and how you're opening your business or how you're wanting to run it. But yeah, I mean, Global was always going to be a limited company anyway. So
did you start limited
yeah, it was
right
always,
off the bat?
It was always limited. Yeah,
Right.
from
Okay.
day one it was set up as limited.
And tell me about your first kind of day being your own boss. How'd it go?
But mad luck working
Yeah.
from home.
Still COVID times?
Was it COVID? No, I don't think it was.
No.
Just the day that I opened the doors, the day that I started trading, what was the 2nd or 3rd of September, I got my first shipment
Right off the bat?
right off the bat.
Love it.
So it was booked, and then it just continued on from there. So while these shipments were being booked, so I had like a 4 or 5 week period where I had nothing coming in. Like there was nothing, like there was no revenue coming in, there was no money coming in. So that's why I was out in the road selling, going and getting new customers and then getting more shipments. So then it all started from that.
And what do you think about, like, I don't know if you follow, I sound like a Tesla fanboy here, like, but I don't know if you follow any of the stuff that goes on with like the likes of automation and robots and all that kind of stuff. But it seems to be that the future, we'll see if this actually happens. You know, there's a lot of predictions in this life, but apparently the future is autonomous. So for example, autonomous trucks that would deliver.
I've seen that before, seen that years ago, self-driving trucks.
Right? Think it'll ever happen?
Maybe.
What would it do to your industry?
Nothing.
You don't think it would affect it at all?
No.
Well, truck drivers wouldn't have a job.
You need drivers. Like, okay, you have a self-driving truck. Who gets out and who parks it on the loading bay? Who opens the back doors? You still need people to do work. Like, it's not all going to be automated. Like,
Or should they have robots?
Fuck no.
Have you seen the robots? Have you seen them?
I've seen them.
They
Like,
were giving drinks out. They were brilliant.
No.
They were mixing drinks. I was going, if this
not for
thing
me,
can
like.
sit here and mix a full drink, what's stopping it from being like, hello, welcome to McDonald's?
then what do they need us for then?
So this,
So for to sit and do what I do on a day-to-day basis, can you get a robot to do that? No.
okay, as I was saying there before, I mentioned the robots and then things started malfunctioning in here, but apparently the world might go autonomous, which is every basic job, whether it be transport, food, etc., will be automated.
But
Right?
still, the machines break.
Machines do break, so you will be in charge of repairing the machines, and you probably shouldn't let the machines repair each other, because that's Terminator
No.
plot right there. That's pure Terminator stuff. You know,
I
Skynet.
don't think we'll see it in our lifetime. Like,
I don't know. Like,
yeah,
don't think so.
no.
So the concept is that if everything becomes automated, people can choose whether they want to work or not.
That's up to them. Somebody doesn't want to work, don't work.
Right. Well, I mean, at the minute you have to contribute, but that's because everything that gets done in the day-to-day life gets done by humans, right? And your time's valuable, my time's valuable, and anybody who works, our time has a cost. You know, you want us to be at this place, we need to be able to we need remuneration, can get that word out there. We need remuneration so that we can actually go and use our tokens of time to get possessions, services, etc., which is how we, you know, give products and services. Goods and services is our time. It's all paid for by time. And some people obviously jerry-rig that and do real estate and don't need to fucking give any time, but we'll not talk about them people. But if everything gets automated, now all of a sudden you don't need to trade money for human time. So money becomes almost obsolete, because you can have anything that you want at any time because it's so cheap to make. And no longer is there winners and losers. It's mostly just winners.
It's not something I ever think about. I see it in the news and it's just like, right, okay.
Well, that brings me on to another point that I'll talk about quickly before we'll wrap things up. Is, in Europe, you can see this because you very much deal with, like you said, the Far East, such as China, India. Obviously, China is quite a nice place now compared to what it was 15, 20 years ago. But India is still a bit, you know, wafty there. But in the game of life, it seems like there's winners and there's losers. And some people don't understand that when they're getting their new Nikes and they're £100 or whatever they are. And they're like, oh, yeah. But you don't realise that was made by someone who's in the losing team.
Yeah.
Everything has a cost.
No.
We're in a very protected space in the UK, Ireland, EU, the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Like these types of places are very much we are bubbled at the thought that all of our garments, like you said, can be made in like India, Bangladesh, all the Pakistan, and these people are working for nothing. For nothing. Whenever you're putting on a t-shirt that costs £3, the person who made that is getting basically nothing.
No.
But people are so numb to that there's not losers. Just like the law, just go out into the jungle and watch a lion sit and eat all day and kill things all day and eat them. There's winners and losers in this life.
No.
And what side do you want to be on?
Winning side.
You want to be on the winning side, unfortunately. And it is what it is. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
It's been going on long before we were even born, like, and it's going to continue on when we're not even here.
I mean, I think we have such a... sometimes you do become numb to it because you're like, this place is shite now. We're the 1%. We are in terms of global earning, I think the top 1% of the entire world, not like the West, but the entire world, is something like $24,000 or $20,000. Thereabouts. If you earn that, you're in the top 1% of the world, and we complain flat out. We complain about everything.
I don't. I'm too laid back.
Yeah, fair enough. And you are quite laid back compared to everyone else. But see, when you go on that Facebook and stuff, it can be very...
So I don't do it. I don't do Facebook.
I was just about to say there.
It's not for me. Like, I think I opened the global Facebook page, which had to be linked to a personal one. And that was only 2 years ago. Apart, I'd never had it. From it was invented, I've never had Facebook.
You never jumped on, never saw the appeal?
No interest in it. Why do I want to see what people are having for their dinner and then people checking to see what I'm doing? No interest in that. If you want to know what I'm doing, you'll have my mobile number. If you don't, then
you don't know me enough.
You don't know me well enough.
Yeah, don't know me well enough. Would you say that the generation brought up on social media? I was kind of the first generation that, got when they were, what was I, 11, 12, whenever there was like MySpace and then Bebo.
I remember all that Bebo and all.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
all that.
So that was kind of the first inklings of social media, and then there was MSN, which was the instant messenger stuff.
I remember that. I had that. I still think I have my email address from 2001. Yeah.
But being kind of the generation that's growing up now, whenever they're 3, 4, 5, 6, they're seeing TikTok, they're seeing...
But it's the same with my kids. Like, they're constantly on it.
Are they?
They're constantly on it. Like, I mean, we Billy can't sit down without saying, "Can I have your phone?" And it drives me insane. I'm like, no, just sit and watch the film. You don't need my phone. You don't need to be on Fortnite 4 hours a day. Like, we try to restrict it, like, to what they're on. But YouTube, I think, is a huge problem, especially at that age. Like, they're constantly on it.
It's one of them things that maybe society needs to have, like a bit of a step in for, because whenever you watch that, like, I know I can do it, like when you watch the TikToks or the Reels or whatever. And
some of the stuff that's on it for their age is so inappropriate.
As your wee one got Roblox?
Yeah.
So I hear Roblox, there's loads of groomers on there. There's loads of pedos on Roblox. I
suppose it's the same as Fortnite and whatever else that they're on, like. But no, he was off. I was taken off it. It's not for me. If we're sitting watching a film, you're going to sit and watch it. You're not scrolling through my phone or on your phone or whatever. Like.
So this is hard. So everyone's going to have ADD. They're all going to have ADHD, not be able to...
But they can't sit. Like, we went out to Little Wings for a pizza there the other night, and he's like, "Can I have your phone?" I was like, "No. Just sit and have a conversation with me." And then he started getting annoyed about it because I wouldn't give him my phone. It's like, just sit with me and your brother and your mum and have a conversation. No, I don't want to. So he sulked for a half an hour while we were eating our dinner. But that's how bad it is.
It'll be an interesting future.
Yeah.
Whenever we have all these, because I mean, for example, your son and my daughter and like, they're really coming in the really, really connected world. Yeah. It's almost too connected.
I know that.
We're almost too connected to each other.
Days without mobile phones were great. Running the streets and your ma's shouting at you, "Ryan, get in!" 10 o'clock at night. You
could make a mistake and it wasn't all over the internet in 3 minutes. Nowadays.
Yeah. That's again why I don't use Facebook socially or personally, because for what? For people to call you out on what?
It's funny you said that. So I made a bit of a, I don't know, what way would you put this? I made a video that was essentially trying to highlight how a lot of retail stores in my local town, and in one of them, shopping centres, were essentially derelict, for lack of a better word, or the older generation was in there. I made a bit of a funny video about it, and next minute the Facebook mob were all over me, calling me every name under the sun, saying that I dress weird. I was
Do you dress weird?
You know the funny thing is, right? See the top I was wearing in that video? It came from one of the shops in there.
No,
And he was giving it, one of the guys was giving it 90 on that, and it was, I could understand that I offended them by saying what I said. It was a bit, it was a bit of a joke, but they got really, really, really annoyed. And I was just sitting there going, these are a bunch of people. I was reading people's comments and all. And I was going, oh, you should have a conversation with me. No one would have a conversation with me. Not one single person would have a conversation face to face with me. Not one. And I sat and wrote it. Who wanted to have a conversation? Not a single person would have a conversation with me. Two, a lot of the people I ended up knowing. So I would see them in the street or whatever.
Oh, really?
And see, ever since that day, I'm like, these fuckers on this social media are just all fake. They're just all fake bots. And no matter what you do in this life, if you stand out, the hammer that hangs the highest.
Somebody will have an
issue.
issue, like, but just let them be. Just let them get on with it. Like, I wouldn't. Do I get annoyed? No. If that's what they want to do, fill your boots, like. You're not gonna get under my skin.
And that's good. That's a good way to because it's hard, man. Like, I see whenever people are calling you names and saying you're this and saying you're that. Like, I've never
had that. Like, I don't know what way I would react to that. But
see, I mean, at the start, I was getting offended, and then I went, wait a second here. These people are just. I'm just someone that they've seen, and it's a reason to get annoyed.
You're just an easy target.
And then in 3 weeks,
somebody will have seen it, and then I'm gonna have a go at him too. Look.
The thing is, like I said, 99% of these people wouldn't say a single thing to you in the street. It's all good in the internet, but whenever they see me walk down the street and go, all right, mate. Jack, how's things? But you would put your head down and go, I don't, which it is what it is. Social media is a bit of a hyperbolic chamber of negativity, and you need to just sometimes realize it is what it is. Water off the duck's back and crack on. Yeah. Right, Ryan, for the last little question for we call it a day here is what advice would you give to someone who's on the edge of starting their own business or taking the leap into a new job?
Just do it. Just go and do it. Look, if you know that you can do it, just do it, because you will regret it for the rest of your life. I know for a fact that if I hadn't done it, I'd have regretted it. And doing what I do now and opening Global is the best decision I've ever made. So yeah, just go and get it done.
there you go, everyone. Go and get it done. Thank you so much, Ryan, for having me on, or for coming on.